Yesterday was Major League Baseball's opening day, and we talked all about the guys that made the show and are going to contend for Rookie of the Year. Now I want to cover some of the guys that are deeper in the systems but have a chance to break out and put themselves on the prospect list this year. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On MLB Prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On MLB Prospects, your home for all things minor league baseball. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, baseball writer for Sports Illustrated. Thank you for making this your first listen every single day. And everybody's talking about your Bobby Witts, your Julio Rodriguez, your O'Neal Cruz, for the wrong reason. But let's talk about some of the deep cut prospects who are primed to have good years and establish themselves as names. We're going to see a lot of turnover in that top 100. A lot of guys graduate, especially that top 10. And these are guys who are going to fill the spots of the guys who move up into those top 10s. All of these names come from either me watching spring training or they come from somebody who was mentioned at The Athletic, Baseball America, Baseball Prospectus, MLB Pipeline, just guys that have been talked about as either having good springs or that look really good and are primed to have good seasons this year. So we're going to start with the senior circuit, the National League. And the first guy I want to talk about is left-hand pitcher Daniel Juarez of the Mets. So 2019 IFA out of Venezuela. And he's a guy that, stature-wise, there's not a lot to him. 5'11", 155. He has a lot of space to add good weight and muscle onto that frame. And he hasn't thrown a bunch of professional ball. I mean, above rookie level competition, he's got 2 1/3 innings. But it's something where despite his size, he's seen as having a pretty good fastball, a really solid slider, and then his changeup is getting better every year. And so in the Florida Complex League last year, 38% strikeout rate, and overall 2.56 ERA, 0.95 WHIP, and in 17 appearances, his opponents only batted 106. 17 appearances, like a one start, 31 1/3 innings, struck out 46, only gave up 2 homers. And so he's got a little bit of control concerns. He walked 19 guys. But if you are a lefty and you can get dudes to swing and miss and you've got velo, you have a chance to kind of get fast-tracked and move through the system. So Daniel Juarez, a guy to expect a lot out of this year in 2022. Keeping it in the same division, Hao Yu Lee, shortstop for the Phillies. So 2021 international signee. He was from Taiwan, and it's something where we've seen him in international competition before. He competed for Chinese Taipei at the Under-18 World Cup, the Under-15, the Under-12, and in the Under-18 World Cup, he actually was the cleanup hitter in 2019 at 16 and beat the United States. So he's the number 20 or 23 or so prospect in the Phillies system. But Florida Coast League last year, or Florida Complex League last year, so rookie ball, 364, 1213 OPS. Went to Instructional League, looked really good there. And so he's a guy where he's going to go to full season this year based on his ability to make contact and cover the strike zone. I feel like he's a guy that's primed to make a jump and do, and do something in a full season of ball. So expect him to kind of come up that list a bit after this season. Another guy, outfielder Isamel Munguia from the Giants. So he was at High A West last year. They won the league, and he was part of the reason for this. He's 5'10", batted 336, 366, 502. 9 home runs last year, 57 runs, 53 RBIs. And so it's weird. He doesn't strike out a lot, like 7.6% strikeout rate, but he doesn't walk a lot either. And so it's one of those I mean, he signed in 2015, and he's kind of been quiet. He's kind of been out of, he's not in that top prospects list because he's a little bit older. He's 24 years old. But he's a lifetime 298 hitter with like 1,300 at-bats. And so he's a guy where, losing that season definitely hurt him. That's why he's older than a lot of other guys at his level. But I feel like based on some of the stuff we saw at the end of the year last year with the Emeralds in Eugene, based on some of the stuff we saw in spring from him, he has a chance to really kind of establish and look good this year. Another guy here, so Cardinals pitcher Jake Walsh. So he's a guy, 16th rounder in 2017, and I love the stories of the deeper prospects who make the list. He's somewhere in, he's on the 40-man roster. They added him last year. He's somewhere around 32nd on the thing. And it's part of the issues he had was really dominant when he debuted in 2017. Started off as a reliever, moved into the rotation. 2019, tore his right UCL, had Tommy John, lost to 2020. So in 2021, they moved him back to the bullpen as he was coming back from the TJ. 22 innings, 2.86 ERA, 34 strikeouts, 8 walks. Went to the Arizona Fall League, struck out 10 guys in 10 innings, 4 saves and 5 opportunities. And so he's got a plus fastball. It's a sinker, which I love a sinker baller. Has a very good curveball. He's a guy who I feel like is going to get a chance to come up to the big league level and contribute for St. Louis this year, even though he's an unheralded prospect down in like 30 or so ranking. Just somebody who dealt with adversity, lost some time, and I think he's not higher on the list because he lost so much time, but definitely a guy who can contribute at the big league level, and I think you'll see him get called up this year. And then the last one for the National League is shortstop Vaughn Grissom of the Braves. 11th rounder in 2019. They signed him for like $350,000. And he's got very impressive contact ability. Had a 143 WRC plus last year between low A and high A. And, as we know, Dansby Swanson's a free agent after this season. So if he doesn't get extended by Atlanta, there's going to be talk about who replaces Dansby Swanson. They've got Braden Shumake. Braden Shumake's been playing really well with some offensive adjustments that he made. Vaughn Grissom's a guy that you may have to use a bridge shortstop for a year, or even you sign a vet to a 2-year deal as a bridge to get to Vaughn Grissom if you think he's the guy. But he's got very good contact ability. He has a natural ability to bat to ball skills kind of thing there, and then understands the strike zone. And so walk to strikeout rate's really good. He's able to, he knows very well what is and is not a strike. He's got very solid, just foundational hitting skills. The thing we've been waiting on is the power. He's got raw power. It shows up in batting practice. He's got exit velos. His max exit velo is 113. He's got all of that, but it hasn't always manifested in the games. He's one of those guys that feels like he's going to be more of an average guy than a power guy. His slugging numbers have gone up throughout seasons in ball, like from beginning of the season to end of season. His slugging numbers get better, so he's starting to understand where he can unleash that power, and he's got room to add weight to his frame. He's defensively, the question is, can he stick it short? He has the arm strength for second or third. He's got the hands where he could play second if they need to. The question is his range. Can he do it or not? But he's going to move to a higher league. I believe his assignment is AA this year. So he's going to get a chance against a higher level of competition. And if Dansby Swanson isn't re-signed, it's going to be a competition between Braden Shumake and Vaughn Grissom to figure out who's the next Brave shortstop of the future, even if they have to bridge for a minute in there. And in just a minute, I do want to kind of go through the American League guys, because there's plenty of good guys in this junior circuit as well. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Built Bar. Built Bars are the protein bars that taste like candy bars and are better for you than candy bars. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, 130 calories, 17 grams of protein, only 4 grams of sugar, and 4 net carbs. So candy bars are normally, 200 plus calories, 30 grams of sugar, dozens of net carbs. the energy doesn't stay with you the same. You get a quick burst of sugar and then you crash. Built bars help you stretch out, make it to your next meal, and be satisfied. So go to built.com. They've got tons of flavors there. Mint brownie, white chocolate cookies and cream. They threw out a shamrock one for the holiday, for St. Patrick's Day last year. So check out all the regular flavors, the limited time flavors, and the seasonal flavors. While you're there, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 at built.com. So looking at some of these guys when we're talking about the American League, one of the guys, by my notes here, one of the guys that I like, left-hand pitcher Nick Vespi of the Orioles. And I've just always been a lefty guy. I love lefty pitchers. Obviously, that's what I was. But I think he's a little under-discussed because he's got the best pitching prospect in baseball in his system. Went in Double-A last year, had 19 innings, 1.42 ERA, 26 strikeouts. Struggled a little bit when he bumped up to Triple-A at the end of the year last year. But he's probably going to start there. But his Arizona Fall League performance looked pretty good. 2.19 ERA, 12 and a third innings, 14 strikeouts, was actually an all-star in the Arizona Fall League. So he was an 18th rounder in 2015, but he's definitely a guy that is somewhat close to the majors. Obviously did not make it. He's going to start in AAA. I think he's going to be an impact reliever for the Orioles. And if he has a good start of the season at AAA Norfolk, he has a chance to debut over the summer. He was actually invited. He was a non-roster invitee to spring training. Again, didn't make the team, but has a chance to contribute probably sooner rather than later. Same thing they're doing with everybody. They're probably going to get him past the Super 2 deadline and then bring him up. Outfielder Cody Thomas of the A's. Not the most prominent athletics outfielder with Christian Pache, but 2015 draft guy. And actually, funny story, very similar to Kyler Murray as far as star quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners and a legitimate NFL draft prospect, and then stuck with baseball. So he was in the Dodger system for 5 years, was traded to Oakland prior to this season, and it's something where AAA Las Vegas, before he hurt his Achilles last year and ended the season, 59 games, had 18 homers, 4 triples, 20 doubles, 52 RBIs, 1028 OPS. So all 5 of his minor league seasons, he's hit somewhere between 18 and 23 home runs. A little bit of an older prospect. He's 23. He is, he's somewhere around that 30 or so level. But tons of raw power. Average exit velo is like 90 miles an hour. So he goes pull side a lot. He's got to fix that. And he's got swing and miss issues, 35% or so whiff rate. But a guy that the power, when he connects, it's going to do great. It reminds me profile-wise of somebody like an Adam Duvall. He can play a corner outfield. His arm is good enough. You'd think being a former quarterback, his arm would be better, but whatever. He's on the 40-man roster. He has a chance with a good season in 2022 to maybe get called up late in the year as a cup of coffee or compete for a job in 2023. Cade Marlowe, outfielder for the Mariners. Again, another guy who is not the most prominent outfielder in his own system. Left-hand hitter, 20th round pick out of Division II in 2019, but had a 2020 campaign last year. 26 home runs, 24 stolen bases, led minor league baseball with 107 RBIs. Him and Spencer Torkelson were tied for 9th with 60-plus extra base hits. Went from high A to Triple A. He's I think he broke the top 20 in the Mariners system, which would be like being in the top 30 in somebody else's because the Mariners have a great system. So, $5,000 to get this guy in 2019. But plus speed, above average defender, plus raw power. When he actually connects, Exit velos are great. He does have swing and miss in the zone. He's got to kind of figure out contact against better pitchers, but he's very smart. Very, very good work ethic. And so I'm confident he'll be in Double-A here. He'll go from there once I expect him to do well in Double-A, move to Triple-A partway through the season, probably back third of the season, and if he does well there, be competing for a call-up maybe mid-season next year. A guy that absolutely can compete, has the physical talent to compete at a high level. And then Elijah Durham, outfielder for the Yankees. So he was a 40th rounder in 2019. Wasn't necessarily happy with that. 2020 was a 5-round draft. Didn't get picked. Signed with the Yankees as a free agent. So he got the maximum $20,000 they let you do in 2020. Went to Low A Tampa. Started off with a 14-game on-base streak, included having a 4-hit game. Went to Hudson Valley in June. Finished the year there. Combined 263, 362, 463. 93 games with 13 homers, 25 doubles, 72 runs, 57 RBIs, and 28 stolen bases in 33 attempts. Went to the Arizona Fall League, was the breakout player of the year there. 357, 465, 571 in 23 games in the Arizona Fall League. So absolutely has the contact ability. Average exit velo was just under 90 miles an hour. Max was 111. So issue is he does hit the ball on the ground too much. So you've got to kind of raise his launch angle, raise his swings where he can get more line drives and fly balls. But when he does put a bat on a ball, it's hard contact, it's quality contact. Defensively, he's got plus speed, can fit in left field, doesn't have the strongest arm, but has a good enough arm. Throw him in left. I think he's starting off at Double-A this year. He's a guy, good contact, good on base skills, tested against some higher level pitching. If that works out, you can move him to Triple-A back half of the season. And then he's a guy you can call on if you have an injury to one of those massive outfielders there in New York next season. Final guy, this is Arizona Diamondbacks top 15 prospect Ryan Bliss. Somebody where undersized, he's a short king. You've heard me talk about him before. He's a short king, and he's one of those guys where he's more than the sum of his parts. He set out to develop more power, kind of copy the swing of Mookie Betts with the leg lift and leg kick and everything, but has a good feel on barreling a ball, can hit the ball to all fields. Had a 443 slugging percentage in Low A last year. I think he was batting average 259, on base 322, slugging 443. Hit 6 home runs in 37 games in Low A. I believe he got moved up to High A to start this year. It's a guy where he's got good hands, good range, good footwork. His arm is seen as fringe to average, but he makes up for it by with his instincts and with being able to anticipate what the ball is going to do and be in the right position. May eventually have to move to second. We don't know. But definitely a guy that if the power continues to play up as it has, as he finished college and then went to pro ball, definitely a guy who you could see as being, one of your up the middle mainstays in just a couple years there in Arizona. And just a minute to finish off the Farm Friday, I do want to cover some of the interesting promotions that you're in for this year in in the minors. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. You can get all the latest developments, including things about the Masters. Today's game is day 2 of the Masters. So obviously, we're looking to see who's going to make the cut to the weekend. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action, because BetOnline is where the game starts. So MLB Pipeline had a great article about some of the really interesting promotions in minor league baseball, because when you look at at the minors, there's two different ways to look at the minors, right? One is this exists for player development to get guys into MLB. The other way to look at it is these are all community organizations that are trying to get fans to come in. They are marketing to fans, and they are providing a family experience. And so often on this show and on a lot of prospect shows, we focus on the baseball aspect of that. We focus on the what can this guy learn at this level and then move to the next level. But some of these promotions are just really interesting. So I kind of want to go through some of these things from MLB Pipeline that they pulled out. Here's one, Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. I was actually watching some of them last night with my son because he thinks the logo is hilarious. But June 24th, they're having Cathartic Scream Night. So the idea is before the 7th inning stretch, you're just going to be able to just give a cathartic scream, get it out, get the pin-up feelings out. We've dealt with a lot of stuff in these last couple of years between the pandemic and everything. And so Cathartic Scream Night. You can just let it all out. Everybody's going to do it together. It seems kind of brilliant. June 24th, Jacksonville, Florida, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Something that I've seen quite a bit of in probably the last decade is characters from The Office making an appearance at minor league games. So Brian Bumgarner, who played Kevin, Kate Flannery, who played Meredith, Leslie David Baker, who played Stanley, are all making appearances at minor league ballparks this year. One of the notable ones, the AAA St. Paul Saints have Leslie David Baker, who played Stanley, coming on April 26th, because April 26th is National Pretzel Day. Fans of The Office will understand the reference. And so he is coming to CHS Field for the St. Paul Saints on April 26th for National Pretzel Day to take pictures. Obviously, they're going to have pretzels for sale and all of that. And there's a lot of like regional food, temporary things that teams are doing, where it's, the team is changing the name for a day. AAA Fresno since 2015, they are the Grizzlies, but since 2015 they have been talking about like their alternate identity, their food-based rebrand has been the tacos, the Fresno Tacos, and so you've got all kind of stuff like that. Augusta, the Augusta Green Jackets, which is named after the Masters, fitting to talk about them this week. They have a thing on June 18th. They will be the Augusta Pimento Cheese. So, love a good pimento cheese. Love a pimento cheese sandwich. One of my favorite things to eat on a summer day. Definitely something I feel like I need to check out. Single A Stockton. They're going to do a thing on April 30th where they're Stockton asparagus. They grow it there. San Jose is going to be the churros multiple times this season. They've got great churros. Go check those out. So fun stuff like that. Talking about the rebrands, the Portland Sea Dogs have a couple different ones they're going to do. So June 10th, they'll be the Portland Whoopie Pies. July 1st, they'll be the Portland Red Snappers. And then August 13th, they'll be the Maine Bean Suppas. And I believe these are all like fundraisers that they're doing for different organizations that revolve around food insecurity and things like that. It's just, sometimes it's just rebrand. Sometimes it's about the giveaways. Something here the article talks about, and I really love this one, is AA Erie Seawolves. So they're an affiliate of the Tigers. And in 2021, they had Spencer Torkelson on the roster. He played third. He played 50 games, hit 14 home runs. And so all season, they have 6 different dates where they're doing what they call Torque Tuesdays. And it's a Spencer Torkelson-related giveaway. They've got a poster. They've got a card set. They've got a binder. They've got a Torque tank top, a lunch bag, and a jersey thing. So just kind of taking a former player and branding a bunch of stuff around them. And then Pensacola Blue Wahoos, AA. And it's actually close to me. I'm probably going to make it to this one. But one of their final promos of the year is going to be a Watson and Watson bobblehead. So Co-owner of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos is professional golfer Bubba Watson. They also have a ballpark dog who goes and retrieves bats and things like that, who is named Bubba. So they are doing a giveaway of the bobblehead is of the two of them. It's of Bubba and Bubba. And then something that my wife's going to probably insist that we go to if we're free. July 6th, the Single A Inland Empire 66ers in California. They're in the California League. They are doing nothing night. Nothing night, free admission, free parking, no amplified sound, no promos, it's just baseball, nothing else. Sometimes it's what you need. Just a good night at the ballpark. Coming up on Monday, we have our mailbag. If you have questions for the show, I'm on Twitter at Crosby Baseball. The show's on Twitter at Locked On Farm. You can email us lockedonmlbprospects@gmail.com. But until then, enjoy the minor league games. And this has been Locked On MLB Prospects.